Wow, very early start today. As you can see, there's three of us today. We're heading out. The lorikeets are going crazy, and yeah, the weather's not looking fantastic, but well, let's give it a go.
Well, before I get into the walkthrough of the FXHO, I wanted to just run through my morning. It was what appeared to be a nice morning out in the water. The weather report said about 15 knots southeasterlies, which is pretty good for fishing. We headed out through the Noosa River, and when we got out into Laguna Bay, the weather was looking pretty nice. There was some clouds off the horizon, but pretty soon when we got out to the fishing spot, the wind came in, the clouds came in, there was lightning, and we only had a pretty short time out there. So in that short time out in the water, I did manage to drop some baits in, and I had a bite off pretty quickly from a Spanish mackerel. Took the tail off and missed my stinger hook completely. Well, I did something that I haven't done in a long time, and that is fall in. It was a bit of a stupid act actually. I just was standing on one rail at the time, turning in the swell, and I went. Contrary to popular belief, I did have a lanyard in, even though I manually turned off the engine. The reason was that I have a very long extension on the lanyard, and I just figured I might as well just leave it in. So after figuring out that the esky lid was unhinged, I did manage to fold down the rear step, kneel on it, put a foot on it, and a bit of grappling around, phoning a handhold, and eventually I got back on. Nothing but a bruised ego and a lesson learnt. The only fish I managed to catch all morning was a grinner. I took a dead bait on the bottom on a mackerel, and one of our other companions out in the water, Michael, did manage to pick up a nice Spanish mackerel and a similar sized long-tailed tuna. So it wasn't a great day out in the water today, a little bit interesting with that little swim I had, something I haven't done for a long time, but anyway. I promised the YouTube watchers that I would do a video on the fit out of this FXHO. Being a 2019 model, there's not many out in the water at the moment, and there's been a bit of interest in the fit out. So this is the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe, it helps all of us. Hit that little notification button as well so that you'll know when I do release new videos. This is the Yamaha FXHO 2019 model. So let's start at the back here. I'm going to lift up the rear seat, and inside we have installed dual batteries. The dual battery has a selector switch, and we charge both batteries at the same time we're running, but we actually run off one battery. So the idea is that if a battery was to go flat, I could switch it over to the other battery and get myself going. I also had a tow tap installed. The local marine rescue actually insists that jet ski riders use a tow tap. The idea here is that if you're being towed, the water can enter the engine through the inlet and force its way into the cylinders. So tow tap allows you to lock that hose off so that no water can get into the engine. Underneath the handlebars are three switches, and these control the electrical items on the ski. The first one to talk about is the GPS sounder. I have a Garmin EchoMap 65 CV with a Burley Pro hood. It's mounted on a custom bracket. One of the mounting points on the FXHO, the transducer on another custom bracket mounted on the rear. The cable goes through the bunghole. I made a simple neoprene cover and affixed it to the rear of the sounder because these sounders are known to get problems with salt water getting into the electrical connections. And so far the cover seems to be doing the job pretty well, and when I check it after a big day out, the rear of the sounder is pretty dry. The Marine VHF radio I have installed is a GME GX750B. It's known as a black box VHF marine radio. It's the 25 watt marine system, and all the controls are in the handpiece. The black box itself is mounted up high inside the hull, and it's completely sealed, so even if it does get wet, it's protected from the elements. I have a 1.5 meter antenna, so I have a very nice range with this radio. Inside the glove box there's another radio mount, so the handset can be stowed in there, and the FX little glove box lid is quite nice. It's got a cutout so you can pull the cables out through the bottom here while still keeping some of the water tightness of the glove box. The Yamaha FXHO models all have a 1.8 litre high output engine. That's 4-cylinder, 4-stroke, and the FXHO has a 155mm high pressure jet pump. The next mod that we've had done on this ski is a extended fuel tank. In this case it's a 27 litre tank, and that connects directly to the main fuel tank. That gives me a total of 97 litres and a range well over the 200 kilometres. To fill the auxiliary tank there is a second filling cap positioned above the main tank. The fuel drains from the auxiliary tank into the main tank. Back inside the glove box I had some power sockets installed. There's a USB on the left hand side and a 12 volt cigarette style adapter there, and I'm using that obviously to charge phones or for charging batteries on the GoPros, and I've also used it to power a live bait tank recently. They're pretty standard. I've got some navigation lights installed to get out early in the morning. I have a white all-round light that sits in a mount above the seat, and it can also go in a rod holder. I had a rod holder installed in the side of the FXHO just so I can troll easily, and having it in front is much easier to keep an eye on the rod when you're going along. I also tether the rod there in that rod holder using a little clip. The fishing esky I'm currently using is a Fish Ski Limited. It's got plenty of rod holders, securely fastens down onto the ski, it's colour matched, can't go wrong there. Beautifully seals as well, so you don't get any water in it when you're travelling along at high speeds. Plenty of room, I think it's about a 50 litre, and on top here you can see that you can actually use it as a cutting board. You can measure your fish, and there's room at the top for some of your tackle. I'd like to put a special thanks to Shoreline Yamaha at Springwood. Their advice and their fit out quality is second to none. And also a special thanks to Fish Ski Australia. I'd like to thank you for watching the FXHO fit out. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.